Hi, I'm Paul Chartier. Thanks for tuning in to Heart of Gold. We have on from Chrysalis House two beautiful ladies representing Chrysalis House. Former board president Lindy Carnes.
Treasurer.
And treasurer and current clinical director Tanya Jernigan. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is your first time on.
It is.
Gosh,
it is.
I'm so
Thank
nervous.
you so much.
Who would like to give an overview of Chrysalis House and the wonderful things that you all do? Lindy.
Okay, well, Chrysalis House is a program. Generally, we treat women with addiction. 85% of our clients are dual diagnosis, which means they also have some level of mental illness. We focus on women who are mothers, pregnant, postpartum. In the addiction world, you are very incentivized when you have a baby to try to be clean and sober, and so we work with that population largely. We have a facility that allows women to stay with their babies in recovery, which again is a strong incentive to recovery. We have an apartment program where after recovery they can live in a drug-free apartment complex, which if you live in Lexington, you know that low-income properties are rarely drug-free. So that's a big incentive for our women. We're an 18-month program, which is a longer program than most you'll see. And the reason for that is because when you have parenting responsibilities, there are a lot of additional services that you need. We have a daycare after-school program, we have parenting classes, financial management classes. We try to give people all the skills they need to live an independent, drug-free life.
If Chrysalis House was not in Lexington, what would happen to these moms and the kids?
Well, there's actually no other licensed treatment facility in the Bluegrass that allows women who are seeking recovery to parent on site. So we're the only agency that provides that service. So we have 50 residential beds that are always full, and we always have a waiting list. So we know that it's a need, and we definitely fulfill a really specialized niche in the community. In the women and children that we serve.
For the 18 months that women go through, you let them go. Is there a pretty good success rate that they're good to go, or do some of them end up kind of coming back into the program?
There's always recidivism.
Yes.
You know, addiction is, any family that's dealt with addiction knows that it's never an easy path, but we do have one of the highest recovery rates of any program, but it's not a perfect path, right? I mean,
well, we're imperfect human beings, and that's what's going to happen.
That's right.
Tanya, from your perspective, what do you want people to know about Chrysalis House? And without mentioning names, which you couldn't do anyway,
sure.
Any great story that you can share with us?
You know, I don't know that any particular stories are coming to mind at the moment, but just the work that I get to see every day. You know, the women are working so diligently, and I think that's the key. I mean, I think when people talk about the Chrysalis House, they talk about the staff that are there, and I will say that they're amazing staff and they're so incredibly dedicated. But we're really just there to kind of shape an environment in which the women can really grow and develop their own recovery. And it really is an amazing sight to see them kind of come in just broken and shattered. You know, so many people have been against them, whether it's been their families or they've been through the criminal justice system or they've been involved with social services and other agencies. They've had so many individuals kind of working with them and also and at times kind of working against them when you talk about their families who really have just kind of given up on them. And so to be able to open our doors and to watch them grow, and they come in and their head is hanging low and they're so downtrodden and they don't know if they want to be there, and then you see them a week later and they're smiling again, and they're saying positive things about themselves, and they're developing goals and dreams again. It's just an amazing sight to see day in and day out.
And over the course of 18 months, there's got to be a great connection between the staff at Chrysalis House and these women and with their babies.
Oh, absolutely. I think we always kind of say once a Chrysalis House client, always a Chrysalis House client, so you can't get away from us, even if you try. So we really encourage graduates to come back and serve as mentors to newer clients, and we even have graduates who serve on our board of directors. We have graduates who actually become employees, and so it's really amazing when we see recovery kind of really become a full circle. And we get to see that whole process play out. You know, we are licensed, it's really a team approach for treatment. Women in recovery have a very complex set of needs, and as Lindy mentioned, our treatment program is much longer than most, but that's because we recognize that women who are parenting and women in general who are battling addiction and who are choosing recovery for themselves and their families really need a lot of support. They need that employment support, they need parenting support, you know, figuring out how to budget and just live life like everyone else at this point. So it really kind of takes a village to enact that change in treatment.
Many of our women started drinking or started using drugs or drinking in their teens, and so they really have not emotionally grown up. And when they become clean, that's when they're, you know, the first time I ever went to Chrysalis House, I walked around on a tour and everyone had stuffed animals on their bed, and I said, well, how old are these people? You know, why do they have stuffed animals? And they said, you know, your brain stops developing when you start your addiction, you know, so, and that's a layman's view, but basically they have a lot of growing up to do when they come to Chrysalis House, and so.
Thank goodness there's this safety net in our community. We're going to talk about a couple fun events coming up, but for people that may want to volunteer or donate items, what do you need? And we'll put the website up when you're explaining what the needs are for Chrysalis House.
Oh, sure. So we always have lots of babies and young kiddos in treatment. Children from birth up to age 2 actually live on site with their moms. So we're always needing things like diapers, you know, bottles, anything a baby might need, extra sheets, twin sheets, pillows, any kind of blankets, toiletry items. Many of the women who come into treatment come in with the clothes on their back and the shoes on their feet and absolutely nothing else. So any kind of personal hygiene products are also helpful. Things like notebooks and journals, pens and pencils, we really encourage the women to journal, and it's a really great opportunity for them to kind of think outside of group and outside of session, to utilize those materials when they're working on, you know, they have homework, and if they're involved in the fellowship, they're utilizing those things for step work and things like that. So.
Some local church Sunday school classes or women's group have done showers for us, which the women love that because, you know, they don't come oftentimes from a culture where people celebrate having babies in quite the same way, you know. So that's an important opportunity for people to contribute to Chrysalis House, but even more importantly, to get involved in our upcoming fundraisers.
Nice. They use the word segue and talk about what's happening on the May 4th and May 14th.
On the 4th is our Mother's Day Luncheon. We have annually honored a mother who is both a mother and involved in her community. Generally, when you tell people who your Mother of the Year is, their first words are, "Oh, I love her." And this year it's Myra Ball that everyone loves. When we tried to roast her at another organization, no one would say anything bad about her, you know. So she's a fabulous community activist and role model, and so we're honoring her this year. It's on May 4th at the Chrysalis House.
And that's a breakfast or luncheon?
It's a luncheon.
And how do people connect to find out about that? From your website?
Sure, they can go to our website, they can call the Chrysalis House. I think you have the number up displayed, and then we have a walk on the 14th of May, which is a very popular day for fundraising, but it's early in the day. It's at the R.J. Corman Center.
Beautiful facility.
It's a beautiful facility. They are kind enough to make a big lunch for everybody who runs, you know, hamburgers and
homemade ice cream.
And homemade ice cream. That was R.J.
favorite.
Corman's mother's recipe.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. So you can honor him as well. But it is, you know, it's very generous of them to do that, and we love that facility, and it's a great place for people to come out and bring their kids and walk the course. You don't have to run, and we have a lot of strollers and babies, and
That's right.
and that's what we're about, really. We're about making healthy families. You know, that you know, the mom is always this key, the centerpiece, the lodestone of any family, and you know, our goal is to create moms who are good moms. You know,
And how long has Chrysalis House been around? Like, how many graduates have you had over the course of how many years?
Oh gosh.
it's a trick question.
Yeah.
We can just make up an answer.
Yeah.
No one
Take your
knows.
shoes off
Nobody
and
knows.
you count on your
Yeah.
toes too.
So, but we've been around for about 38 years. So,
So how many graduates per year? For every 18 months?
oh gosh.
Well,
That's
the
a difficult
organization
one.
has grown. We don't probably really know that. Every
Hundreds.
year.
Hundreds.
Oh yeah, hundreds, certainly.
Absolutely.
You know, and it really, you know, you talk about, have you ever had this moment? Well, as Paul, as you know, I love Chrysalis House, and I was at a restaurant in town a year ago, and a young woman comes up to me and says, "You don't know me, but you saved my life." I'm like, "I saved your life?"
Yeah.
Thinking, how can you account your way to life saving? I don't get it. But she was a Chrysalis House mom, and she had a young son, and was in recovery, and then she was working at a downtown restaurant and going back to school, and her life was really on track, and she spoke at our luncheon last year. We always try to have someone speak who is a successful graduate, and it was only because she came up to me. I would never have known that, and you know, lots of people volunteer and lots of people do good work, but it was really great to hear that from one of the clients.
And your hearts are in the right place, and I know that. But for you to be approached, that had to make you feel fabulous about all the time that you've given to Chrysalis House and all the people there.
Well, it did. You know, I mean, it's a great organization. I've
Yeah.
always felt very proud of being involved. But you remember several years ago when you let us come on for the first time, we were an organization that was very grant driven. We didn't really need a lot of money from the community, and therefore we're not well known. And when our grant funding was cut substantially, we sort of got out and tried to get ahead of that and make people understand what we do. And you know, there is nothing better than looking at a mom holding her baby and she's healthy and the baby's healthy. And
Well, this is your marketing piece. So take this and send it to everybody that doesn't know about Chrysalis House and the magic that you do. And Tanya, in the last minute, make a plea for people about how great of an organization Chrysalis House is.
Well, I think what Lindsay said, I mean, we bring families together. We allow women to develop the skills to have healthy families, and I think that's what we all want. And you know, when we talk about volunteering, I will say this, I think the women are so empowered when they know that the community is rallying behind them. So participating in the 5K, attending the luncheon is a really unique way to let the women know that they have support, and that's what they need the most, is to know that they have people standing behind them.
They may feel something in that 18 months, but when they see the community, it all comes together. Ladies, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
It's a great organization. I don't know what our town would be like without you, so thank you very much, and thanks to everybody on the staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having
I'm
us.
Paul Chartier. We'll be right back on Heart of Gold.